In this video, I'm going to be breaking down 5 specific things that you need to start doing to get really good at pickleball in 2024. Throughout the last year, I have compiled what I believe to be the 5 most important tips for any pickler to take their game to the next level. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Austin, and I'm a 5.5 ranked doubles and singles player, and I'm a professionally certified pickleball coach. Now let's open the playbook. Tip number 1 is that you need to be focusing on one skill when you're practicing and when you're playing. A lot of the time what I'll see with players, and especially with myself, is that I'll be out playing in rec or I'll be drilling and I'm not focusing on anything in particular. I'm just like, okay, let's start with dinks and then we'll go into practicing resets and then we'll go into practicing drops. But that's not going to be a very effective practice if you're not focusing on building upon one specific skill. So keeping one skill in mind, typically what it is whatever is your weakest point, whatever people are targeting the most on you, if you can build that into a strength and build upon it, then obviously it's not going to be a problem anymore. People aren't going to target it anymore. So you want to be picking whatever that number one thing is that you're struggling with and focus on improving upon that time and time again as you're practicing and as you're playing. So for me, currently in my pickleball journey, I've noticed that my backhand dink isn't the best that it could be. So I've been practicing specifically that when I'm drilling and when I'm playing in rec. So whenever I'm playing in rec, I'm really focused on getting into dink battles cross court so that I can continue to practice that. And maybe I'll get an attackable ball, and instead of attacking that ball and hitting it out of the air, I'm just gonna practice hitting that backhand dink. It might seem a little bit unorthodox, and you obviously don't wanna build a bad habit of doing that. You wanna attack attackable balls, but it's more important that you build upon that, whatever that one skill is that you're trying to master. So if you can build upon that and get better at it and maybe sacrifice one rec game, sacrifice one put away that you could have done and just dink it instead because you're trying to build that muscle memory and that foundation with your backhand dink, or whatever stroke it might be, I think it's going to pay dividends in the long run. So stop picking multiple things to improve on as you're playing in rec games or drilling, and just pick one focus skill of whatever it is that's your weakest point and hit that as many times as you can. That brings us to tip number 2, which is recording yourself while you're playing. A lot of players will simply not record themselves while playing just because they don't have a mount to record with. I have gone through tons of different mounts and tried various different ones, and I've found one that's the absolute best. It's the easiest to set up and take down, so I'll link that in the description for you guys to check out. It's only like 26 bucks, so go ahead and splurge on that one. Get yourself one because it's absolutely worth it. And what's nice is it comes up to the height of all the players. So you can put it in the back of the court and you can just record simply with your phone, and then you can go review the tape and watch yourself playing. Nothing will help you improve more than just watching yourself play and seeing like, oh man, I'm not doing that correctly, or hey, I am doing that correctly, but how could I make it better? And then the very best thing that you can do is put yourself side by side with a pro. So have on one side of the camera a video of you hitting a shot, and then on the other side of the camera have the pro hitting that shot. And then you're there analyzing, okay, what is this pro doing that I'm not doing? Because I missed my backhand dink into the net, but this pro hit his backhand dink over the net. So what is it that he's doing that I need to start doing? Maybe he's coming out just a bit further with his motion. Maybe he's putting his elbow up and I'm keeping my elbow down, something like that. If you guys would like help with that, I do offer side-by-side analysis. So if you want that, I'll link my Instagram in the description. All you have to do is get on there, send me a direct message. There's a message button, and just say, hey, I would like to do a stroke analysis with you. And then I'd be happy to help you guys out. So don't underestimate the power of recording yourself while you're playing. That brings us to the 3rd tip, which is playing in tournaments. So this is something that's very overlooked. Sometimes you'll play in your first tournament and then you won't play in another tournament for a very long time because it kind of turned you off of pickleball. You'll go sign up for 3-5 and then you'll get second to last place and you're like, wow, I thought I was a lot better than I was. It's like, well, maybe you are. You could be a lot better than you actually are, but it's just that tournament pressure got to you. So there's nothing that beats getting that experience and gaining that experience of playing and playing and playing and playing. The only way that you're going to actually win that tournament is obviously by playing in it. So give yourself as many opportunities to play in tournaments as possible. and your mental game will improve more than anything else, and your physical game will also improve. So getting in those pressure-filled moments, the more that you get in those moments, the better of a player that you'll become. So don't just give up after one tournament. Chances are you're gonna do absolutely horrendous in your first tournament unless you totally sandbag and you're a 4-0 and you go play 3-5 or something like that. But still, that pressure will get to you because you'll be like, oh man, I should be better than these guys, right? And then you end up not playing as good as you should. But chances are you play in your first tournament, you don't do that well. So just get that experience, gain that experience, and play in as many tournaments as you possibly can. This video is sponsored by Selkirk. This is the paddle I use, the Lux Control Air. If you guys are in need of any paddles, pickleball gear, balls, bags, anything like that, please use my code ADV-Playbook. It helps to support the channel. And you also receive a free e-gift card after your purchase. If you have any questions about any gear from Selkirk, whether it's paddles or bags or balls, please leave them in the comments below and I will reply to them. I try to reply to everybody's comments. So any questions that you have, if you want more power in your game or if you're looking for more control or more spin, I can point you in the right direction. The link to all Selkirk gear is in the description of this video. This brings us to tip number 4, which is that you need to improve your mental game. This is probably the most overlooked aspect of pickleball, is improving upon our mental game. We want to really get good at physical things. We want to practice certain shots, but we're not feeling that same pressure until we're in a tournament, right? So even when we're playing in rec, we're not feeling that tournament pressure. So all of a sudden we get into a tournament and we choke. We have maybe a better physical game than our opponents, and we know that, right? But we're losing to them, and you hear it all the time. They're like, well, we were better than them. It's just, we missed. We missed easy shots. And it's like the reason that you miss those easy shots is just because your mental game isn't all the way there. And if you think about the best in the world, Ben Johns and Annalie Waters, they've been down match point so many times that I've watched them. So many times been down match point, and they come back from it. When it's just like, oh my gosh, this other team finally beat them. It's like, nope, they come back. Regardless of if it's match point or any point throughout the match, they have such a strong mental game, and that's what's helped them to overcome and win so many titles. We actually came out with a podcast called 10 Tips to Improve Upon Your Mental Game. I'll link it in the description for you guys to watch. It's the Picklehead podcast. Probably the most valuable podcast we've ever given because it breaks down 10 specific things that you need to do to prepare for a tournament and what you need to be doing as you're playing in that tournament to overcome those butterflies, that knot in your stomach. Because there's nothing wrong with having that knot in your stomach. It's what you do to overcome it. And this brings us to the 80-20 rule, which is what I would suggest, and based off of all the research that I've done and all of the playing that I've done, is that pickleball is 80% mental when we're playing in tournaments and 20% physical. So if you can improve upon your mental game, you're going to be able to overcome your opponents even if they have a better physical game than you. And I've seen this in tournaments time and time again where I'm playing in the final of the gold medal match, and maybe I'm not as good as my opponents are, but my mental game is better than theirs. So I'm able to overcome them through that because I'm winning 80% of the rallies now because I have that mental aspect refined. Is it perfect yet? Absolutely not. But I would suggest that it's better than majority of players because I've played in so many tournaments and I've done so much studying on the mental game. It's been one of the most important things to me. So be sure to check out that podcast. Remember that it's linked in the description. This brings us to tip number 5, which is the golden rule for improving your game more than anything else in 2024, and that is to drill, to get out there and get reps in. Regardless of if you have a partner that you're drilling with, a wall that you're drilling with, or a ball machine, getting out and getting reps in will improve your game more than anything else can. So obviously the mental aspect is extremely important. But if you don't have any physical aspect, you still need that 20%. And in order to get that 20%, you got to put a lot of hours in and a lot of reps in. A lot of people will be like, well, hey, I don't want to drill. I just want to play. I want to just have fun. It's like you're going to have way more fun if you're better and if you're out there and you're beating your opponents and your competition time and time again. That's at least me. Maybe that's because I'm super competitive, but I feel like it's a lot more fun to play pickleball when I'm winning. So, and if you're constantly winning against people that you're playing against, and you aren't drilling, then you need to start playing against better players. And obviously that's going to make you want to drill more and more. And drilling can be extremely boring if you continue to do the same mundane things over and over and over again. That's why I came up with my app. It's the Pickleball Playbook training app. Has tons of different drills to choose from and trainings that tells you like specifically what to do with these drills. So if you want to work on your dinks, your drops, your drives, or your volleys, it has it all in there, and it also has it specific to your level. So if you're a beginner, you can do the beginner program. If you're intermediate, you can do the intermediate program. And if you're advanced, you can do the advanced program. So be sure to download the app. It'll be the top link in the description. There's a free version and a pro version. It has different perks. You obviously get a lot more with the pro version, but at least get started with the free version. You get one free drill every single week. It can really help spice up your training sessions and make them more enjoyable. If you're interested in learning about the new rule changes for pickleball in 2024, I put a lot of work into this video. You guys can check it out. We go over all of the rules that they changed, as well as some of the potential ones that they were going to change, and some of them may absolutely shock you. So if that does interest you, be sure to check it out, and I will see you guys on the next video.